Hello and welcome to the Savages and Scholars. So we had a current event that we wanted to talk about, but before that, I want to introduce everybody, okay? And by that I mean introduce yourself, guys. Starting with Anthony.
Hi, I'm Anthony.
Hi, I'm Murray.
Hi, this is Janet.
Hey guys, I'm Frankie Martinez, Jiu-Jitsu black belt. And apparently I'm a dad too, because I noticed Miguel's new cooling unit when I walked in.
You were a dad before then.
Okay.
And I am your host, Miguel, from the Savages and Scholars. All right, good start. I'm very excited for this one. We have something cool. What was that thing? What was that subject you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I guess we could start off with this morning, Greenpeace decided to shut down half of the Fred Hartman Bridge, causing traffic backups that a lot of people weren't happy about. But yeah, apparently they were wanting to target that bridge because it's a big thoroughway for the oil industry, through the bridge and under it, with all the tankers and all that. So that was them making a statement. You can, if you were within sight of the bridge, you could see like hammock looking things hanging under the bridge, and there were people in those things. There were people hanging from the bridge. And I was hearing that they were going to plan on being there for 24 hours straight. And that was their protest.
Wait. 24 hours straight?
Yeah, so it started this morning. I don't know what time. It had to be early for them to pull something off like that without...
What I want to know is...
And getting away with it.
Okay, 24 hours straight. You mean like one day of them just hanging out?
In a hammock?
Just hanging
And they
there.
can't go to the bathroom.
I don't know the logistics of it. But
I feel like they probably could go to the bathroom.
Where was
we
this
just
at?
Don't wanna...
So, the Fred Hartman Bridge, for those of y'all who aren't from Houston or just aren't aware, is that huge bridge when you're going to Baytown, when you take that highway, that 146 highway through all the refineries, and then you hang a left to go to Baytown, and there's that huge bridge you cross.
It's the one, the big yellow one.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And that takes you right into Baytown. And so that whole region, there's a lot of industrial movement, a lot of like petroleum industry, tankers, oil tanker ships run under there, containers moving like plastic materials or imports and exports to the ports run through there.
Notoriously known as Stinkadina.
Pasadena, Baytown, all of that. I mean, they all rely on that bridge. So Greenpeace was like, yeah, we're just going to shut it down.
Why? What were they protesting?
They were protesting. Okay, so I could be wrong because I briefly Googled it. I didn't read into it in depth. But they were protesting the nation's heavy reliance on petroleum. Like,
Okay.
petroleum, oil.
So they were protesting petroleum in general, the petroleum companies, or just a U.S.
I think like kind of just generally all of it.
Okay.
U.S. reliance on it, and and the companies like Exxon and BP. I think even though they're a European country, but all the companies doing business here, they were protesting all of them. But a lot of people were upset, especially.
On what grounds, though?
What do you mean on what grounds?
Why were they upset?
Yeah, what were your demands? What do you get?
Yeah.
So these are all very good questions. I should have read up so much more on this.
You were like, let's talk about something that I mildly know about.
Let's talk about something that made me upset. That's where I was coming from, really.
Right. We don't care about the protesters. We care about Frankie.
I just wanted. There's like so many things into this. Like 24 hours. Come on. What's 24 hours going to do to anyone? Right?
Do you imagine the traffic that happened because of that?
It affected people because a lot of people drive, like, okay, just after 4:30, people getting home. I mean, the traffic backup.
I mean,
just from that
Hong
alone.
Kong has been on fire for probably weeks now. It definitely has been weeks, maybe months.
Hong Kong from the protesters?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're upset that China's trying to move in.
How long do you think that's been?
That's been going on for weeks at least.
All right, so these people are like 24 hours to make a statement. And
Okay,
sorry, I couldn't hear you over all these Hong Kong people trying to keep their independence.
I think, all in all, I think Greenpeace did themselves a disservice with this stunt. Me personally, I work in that area, so they really hindered my work. Like I could say that I made less money today because of their actions. And there's a lot of honest, hardworking people that would probably say the same, or were held back from getting home on time or getting to work on time or whatever. But I think Greenpeace did themselves a lot of disservice. I mean, it's cool to be socially conscious and care about things, but again, time and place.
When is the right time to protest?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, because so many people says, "Oh, go protest somewhere else." I mean, if they did it in an empty field, who would care, right?
Yeah.
I get that.
I mean, it's like
I get that.
they opened a Chick-fil-A in Canada, and there was people like laying on the floor, and people
heard
would
about
walk
that.
around them
My-
just to get in to go to the restaurant.
My son told me about that.
I would
It's
be
amazing.
the guy. I would be the guy that walks around that guy.
Oh yeah, no, I don't care if you're sleeping on the floor. You just like
Especially the first Chick-fil-A in my area, bro. Have you seen them sandwiches? They're good. They're
Not as good as Popeyes, but they're good.
The jury's still out. We won't know. You know what we have to do? We have to do the blind taste, like a blind test.
Blind taste test. That would be an excellent idea.
Yeah, you know, I've done it before with my friends. We went and got burgers from everywhere, like Burger King, Sonic, Jack in the Box, and Whataburger, and then we cut them all up, and then we basically had people feed the other one like slices. It was very, very specific, very, very scientific.
Yeah, like we were blindfolded and like it was like completely random.
Yeah, and just to see which one was the best.
So bringing it back around full circle to that
It was Whataburger.
for chicken sandwich.
No, it wasn't chicken sandwich.
It was burgers.
It was normal. It
Burgers.
was normal burgers.
Let me ask you this: did you have Five Guys in that lineup?
I did not because that's not a fast food.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put. A
I feel
post-it
like
note
it
on-
is.
Put a post-it note on
I mean,
that.
it's like the kind of people are just like, oh, I like to go to Outback on the weekday. I'm like, well, sir, I forgot my 3-piece suit.
So, if you want to make a difference, you don't do it by, I think, stopping or something. So when the first time they started protesting Chick-fil-A years ago, I think the LGBT community was protesting it. They were like, let's call for a protest. And it had the opposite effect. There were lines of people going to Chick-fil-A.
Right.
They were taking pictures on social media. I got my Chick-fil-A meal today. You know, hashtag traditional marriage or whatever. Yeah, it was kind of annoying, but
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of expect that because
you wanted to hurt Chick-fil-A, and it had the opposite effect. Like Chick-fil-A had record days from that event.
right.
Now, what's happening today? Chick-fil-A is having competition from another restaurant. So, if you want to make a difference, offer a better alternative.
Right.
Not say, hey, let's just not do this. Like, let's just not consume petroleum. Okay, we're not going to consume petroleum. What's the alternative? So, Greenpeace has been anti-petroleum forever, even though it's so ingrained in our society. I mean, plastic water bottles, the gasoline in your car, whatever your glasses are made of, it all has petroleum in it somehow. So what's the alternative? And I think we're getting to that point, but it's a slow transition. Electric cars are becoming a thing, you know. So now we're going to end up using less fossil fuels in 50 years than what we used 50 years ago. So how did we do that? Somebody said, hey, I got a better alternative. Not, hey, let's not use this. I don't know what we're gonna do, but let's not use this. That's not practical.
So that's like the difference between like an activist and a I guess
A protester. That's exactly a conversation I had the other day. Like, if you really want to make a difference, go and act. Don't just go and protest and just. It's good for awareness because it will get people talking. Like, we're talking about it now, but we're not talking about the right thing. We're not talking about the cause they're fighting for. We're talking about how they made you lose out on money. We're talking about the inconvenience they made. If you really want to make a difference, you really got to act. Like you said, whether it's provide a new product in the Chick-fil-A scenario, or in this case, I don't know, provide facts, provide, statistics maybe, and then, I don't know, come up with a plan to actually present it to people and make it a great idea, as opposed to just being a dick and making people's days harder. Because then there's a pushback from that.
Yeah.
I feel like people are very ignorant when it comes to straying from the traditional, from what they feel like it's the norm, quote unquote. And we see this like in politics. We see this in restaurants. We see this in almost every aspect of life. Nobody really does any research. Nobody really goes into depth of figuring out why a certain company is doing something, what you could do.
Are you saying that nobody does any research and then just start talking
Majority of people.
Did you research that before?
No, I think no,
that-
but you're onto something for real because even if you do your research, like there's so much misinformation. Like, you really have to do a lot of research to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or else you could be basing your facts on something that was like a really bogus study or like a study that had no controls that can't be recreated.
Like vaccines, anti-vax people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like we should all be anti-vax, right? Is that the stance? Like vaccines are bad?
Unless Bagel does.
We were talking about it earlier, and it's funny because most of the people that don't vaccinate their kids have been vaccinated before.
vaccinated, yeah.
Like they grew up being vaccinated. Like it's kind of hypocritical of them.
It's like I think of it like a lot of times people see it as like a Russian roulette. What are the odds of something really bad happening to my child, right? And let's just say that the odds are, 0.001%. Like how many M&Ms in a jar would have to be there for you to know that there would be one M&M that's poisonous, and how comfortable would you be with having your son stick his hand in there? That's the kind of thing that, like, I feel like that would be the argument if I was on the other side.
Well, keep in mind that not everybody can be vaccinated. Babies cannot be vaccinated until they're a certain age, right? Like 4 months, or they eventually get their vaccinations.
Right.
And then there's other, right?
Yeah,
and
it's a series. Like, you can't get these until you're this age, and you can't get these other sets till
right. And then
later
there's
on.
one that you're supposed to get when you're like 18. I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, whoa, like I'm still supposed to get this? Like, okay, I thought I was done with that. But like, there's people that cannot be vaccinated, and these things only work, when everybody is involved, when it's a collective. Because once one person stops doing it out of choice, and then that spreads, then it kind of defeats the purpose of being vaccinated. It's kind of like it's like a group tribe kind of thing where everybody has to be in on it for it to work.
You mean like a social contract?
A social contract.
Yeah, you mean like the one that we have right now where we're just not gonna kill each other, like
With polio, like because
with polio,
because it was eradicated.
biochemical warfare. That's a good way to kill other people that you hate. Having your kid die for it.
Just sacrificing them. Like, oh, they're not gonna make it to the age of 5. I didn't vaccinate them for polio, so
So, back to what you said. You can't compare Five Guys to Whataburger, okay? Because it's two different things.
No, I agree. I'm
Okay.
I'm in that boat.
Okay.
That was Anthony who said that.
Well, I've never had Five Guys. Is it better?
It's like going to not fast food restaurant.
It's a level above
fast food.
fast food.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not like a fancy like
No,
sit
it's not
down.
5-star.
Yeah.
It's like a Bucky's restroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's still a pit stop, right?
It's still a restroom, but if you're gonna go to a restroom, you're gonna want to go to that one.
Yeah.
Right, hell yeah.
It is the restroom to go to.
Right.
Just a Bucky's.
They even have that stuff where you clean the toilet if you want to.
I'll go there and I won't post it on social media just because I don't.
A Bucky's or a Five Guys?
The Bucky's.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
We have a mutual friend who is very adamant about posting on social media his opinions on Five Guys and Whataburger. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but he's very
He's
opinionated on it.
Is he
Oh.
anti-Whataburger?
He's anti Whataburger, very much so.
anti-water.
He makes me upset when he. I know.
Frankie knows. Frankie's
Whataburger
aware.
is like a Texas staple,
For sure.
right?
He thinks otherwise. He thinks it's dry and.
I mean, the state. No, it was bought by a. It was bought by a wealthy. It was bought by a wealthy Chicago.
They can't take it away
investment
from us, though.
firm.
It's supposed to go national, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna go.
Can you imagine like a deep dish, A1 thick and hearty?
A deep dish, Jesus.
Oh,
That sounds terrible.
just deep dish pizza already sounds bad, and
It's so good. Though.
I'm not a fan.
Really?
Hold on.
I don't even want to
Okay,
try it.
So you don't like deep dish pizza?
I'm
Let me
a
ask you this.
more-
Have you had deep dish pizza in Chicago?
No.
Y'all don't know what you're talking about. Then that's like me saying jiu-jitsu is gay, and I've never trained jiu-jitsu. a day in my life.
Wait. Have you trained in Brazil?
To be fair, Frankie, I've trained jujitsu, and I still think it's a little
It's a
gay.
little gay. Fair enough.
It's a little,
But
just a little bit.
I challenge you, or I invite you to have some authentic Chicago deep dish and then make your judgment.
Have you been to Chicago, Frankie?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of it?
It's a whole. Have I been to Chicago and had a deep dish? Was that your question?
No. Have you been in Chicago?
city.
Just.
It's fun
yeah.
because you don't need a car. You can take the train. It'll take you anywhere. Like you don't need a car to get around Chicago or like the outer suburbs.
That's pretty cool.
I went to when I was on a trip over there, I went to train at Rodrigo Medeiros school when he was out there. He's like a Alianza veteran. You might be familiar with him, you might not.
The Alliance?
Huh? Yeah, Alianza.
It's pronounced
Alliance.
Alliance.
Get it right, okay?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's Alianza.
I lost a little bit of respect.
But I went to train at his place, and it was like 20 miles away, and I got there just by public transportation. It was great.
Oh, cool.
It only took half of the day.
It did not
It
take
was-
half-
It was 3 hours before the class, and then another 3 hours back to get back to your hotel.
He left at 8 in the morning, came back the next day. Very good trip. Very fast.
He got good training in, It's
Yeah,
great.
for an hour and a half.
The deep dish pizza there is a whole nother level.
From where? Do you
In
remember the
Chicago,
place?
Giordano's is probably one of their most iconic places, but you go to even a lesser known restaurant and still the pizza is great. Deep dish pie. It's not even a deep dish pizza, it's a deep dish pizza pie.
What if I already don't like pie? Is it gonna change my perception of
I
it?
mean, because pie, there's pie and then there's pie, you know? So,
Yeah, one of them is an infinite number, and then
it's an infinite
3.14.
number. One of them is a sweet dessert, and one of them is an innovation of an Italian staple.
It
All
ain't
right.
Italian no more.
That's why it's an innovation. Yeah.
Wait, do you guys know?
Whole
Is
another level.
pizza isn't from Italy, right? Like it was some. They didn't create it in Italy, or am I wrong?
it doesn't matter where it was created. I can tell you where it was perfected.
Chicago. Chicago.
In America.
Right.
in America.
But the
That's
only
we do all things. We're just so good at perfecting shows, video games. We'll just get all creative, you know, and then we'll take it.
that used to be our thing, but Asia one-upped us on that recently in recent history.
I want examples.
Okay, they've made better automobiles. China has made better a lot of stuff. I mean, electronics. Like, we'll invent something and China will make like a clone of it and just slightly better and cheaper. I mean, like, they've banned Huawei here in the U.S.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
They're just so scared of
You
it.
mean Hawaii?
Oh, wait.
What's Huawei?
Huawei.
Huawei? What's that?
It's a brand of.
It's a cell phone company
Yeah.
that they've convinced you that the Chinese government is spying on you through.
Right.
So we can't use it here.
Right.
But the zoom and the cameras, they have that brand in Panama, for example. And the zoom is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you can look into a building. You can look into another building if you really focus it out. You can see it there.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's almost like good for spying.
Yeah.
But the point is that America was good at that, but I think Asia one upped us.
Well, we love the Patriot tax.
I've heard someone say that if you think you're good at something, like if you think you're really good at something, there's probably an Asian boy or like a Japanese boy who's like 10 times better than you in that certain thing. And most of the time it's true.
Right.
Facts. But there's a place.
There's no one better than being me.
No,
that
there's a
Asian-
Japanese Miguel. He's
looks like Drake and really good at jiu-jitsu.
he's killing it.
And has an even better podcast.
Scholars and Savages? Oh man, what a better name. Blackjack and Hookers. That was Anthony's podcast.
Oh, wow.
There's a restaurant in San Antonio that does deep dish pizza pretty close to what Chicago does. So if we're in San Antonio, maybe we can hit it up if you guys aren't on a
Yeah,
special
whenever you
diet.
have 3 hours to spare, and then another 2 for eating, and then another 3 for coming back.
I mean,
he
if we're
likes
there,
his journeys.
Yeah.
if we're there already, you know, you guys travel for tournaments all the time.
Right. I know there's a place in Humble called Windy City Pizza, and I think that the owner is from Chicago.
Yeah.
So we had a deep dish pizza. From there. Sorry, bagel just bit me. We've had a deep dish pizza from there before, and it was so good.
It was pretty good, actually. I take that back. Chicago pizza, pretty good if it's from a black guy with an oven who says that he's from Chicago. I have no other references. That's
There's
all
no
I-
other proof that
Yeah,
he for
that's-
sure is from Chicago.
That's the only thing I knew. And my French references.
I guess I just have to go and try it. I don't know. I don't.
You haven't had it.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Don't
you
knock
know?
it till you try it.
It's like
Exactly.
sushi, you know, like
It's like sushi. I don't know why people don't like sushi.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
it's an acquired taste.
No, it's not. Sushi's
Yeah,
pretty
like,
normal now.
I think spring rolls and sushi are an acquired taste.
I think
Like,
you're wrong.
It's something that you kind of hate in the beginning, but you're like, no, I could do it.
You're talking about like the raw fish, right?
Yeah, you like,
Like-
stick it in your mouth.
Okay.
And you're like,
Not like California rolls. Talking about like raw fish.
Okay,
that's
That's-
nigiri.
Nigiri.
so
Nigiri.
sushi's been pretty Americanized, so it's not raw fish anymore, quote unquote.
All right, then I'm out.
And when it's a staple at Chinese buffets where Mexicans are cooking it, when it's a staple at those, I think they're not really exotic or like.
They use the fake crab meat.
Yeah, it's not authentic sushi. I mean, I'm not fooling myself here, but I'm just saying it's not fancy anymore. I think it's a staple pretty much.
Yeah, if I'm at the buffet, I'm gonna get sushi for sure.
Yeah, I do too. Even though I know it's not like
See,
authentic.
so there.
And then me
So
and
there.
wasabi, you know, it doesn't matter who I go to eat sushi with. They're like, hey, did you know that's not real wasabi? That's horseradish. I want some facts. I don't know.
I was at Benihana.
Did you have real wasabi?
I was at Benihana one time. I was pretty young and ignorant of the world, and I had a
1990 with the jean jacket.
It was back in 1971.
I could be talking about last week, but you guys just imagine like I got a jean jacket on.
Hair slicked
And
back.
that's not even in the 90s. It was grunge. Like if anything, I had flannel on or something.
get it
You
right.
know?
Yeah, flannel and then your jean jacket.
Okay, tied around my waist. Yeah. You know,
There was like flaming boots in the back of the jean jacket too. It was just like, why? He wouldn't even wear boots. He was just wearing a jacket that had boots on it.
so I was at Benihana, and my Asian friend was like, "Hey man, try this green stuff," and I was like, "Is it like guacamole?" He's like, "Yeah, man, just dip your sushi in there, get it in there really good." I'm like, so I did. And I'm like, man. Tommy, that was his name, Tommy. Tommy's so cool, showing me his culture. You know, I love Asians, so I'm just getting it in there, and then I put it in my mouth. Oh my gosh, my sinuses cleared up like never before, and that was my intro to sushi. I mean, to wasabi.
That's how the coughing started.
It wasn't the
AIDS pizza.
He just calls it allergies now. It's fine.
Oh,
Would you mind picking another topic from the topic hat?
I've been trying to see what I can do to connect it to what we've been talking about, but we went from food and the other options are very like
we could just go 180. That's
Jiu-jitsu
fine. Yeah, we're gonna
or
go straight to-
commitment or memorable moments.
Well, I want to hear some memorable moments in tournaments.
Oh,
From y'all. I don't compete, but I would like to hear some of
I
some
have
of
a
y'all's.
good one of my first tournament. This was like 2 years ago, 2017. I cut all this weight because I was like 20 pounds heavier than I was supposed to be. I got armbarred maybe like 2-3 minutes into the match. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that happened. And the second I went and talked to my dad, I started bawling. Like just crying, sobbing in the middle. And there's people that are like, hey, like there's this dude from San Antonio who's always doing he's like one of the mat coordinators. And he just looked at me. He's like, how'd you do? And I was like, oh, I lost, but we're good. And apparently Anthony was at the same tournament that time. He wasn't training with us at the moment, but he saw me crying. So
and he was like, "That's the one."
That was actually the first time I ever saw her. Like I walked by and I was like, oh shit, that didn't go well.
This person doesn't look like she has her shit together. That's okay. Maybe next
No.
time.
So, were you a white belt or a blue belt, or at this point in time?
that was maybe like
2017?
like 8 months after I started training. I just said like screw it, and I decided on doing that tournament.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean it was fun. It was a good experience. The cutting weight part sucked, but
Of course.
that sucks for anybody. We can all relate in that sense.
Okay,
Enlighten
so
us in some.
you got armbarred in your very first tournament. It didn't go the way you wanted.
Oh, not at all. I
Yeah.
was
How much weight
losing
did you have to
bad.
cut? 20?
20 pounds.
Wow.
So you look good doing it, right?
Yeah, I was killing it. That was probably the skinniest I was like in 2 or 3 years.
Was it a IBJJ tournament or some other tournament?
Yes, it was the Austin Open.
So you went in there
Head
freshly
on.
cut weight. Like right before the tournament, not like I cut 20 pounds yesterday and then ate like normal tournaments.
What the hell?
Well,
That
no-
doesn't seem like it's good
So-
for you.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, in normal tournaments, you cut whatever weight you need to, and you weigh in before the day of the tournament. And then once it's official, you can rehydrate and eat all you want, and then the next day compete. So compared to an IBJJ tournament, where go ahead.
They usually do that in the Abu Dhabi tournaments, Like
You weigh in before the day before?
you weigh the day before, and then you just stuff your face afterwards.
But
You
an
just gain those 20 pounds back.
That's a recipe for disaster.
For those of you who don't know, in IBJJ, you weigh in like an hour before you compete. So if you cut 20 pounds and like you're starving or dehydrated, that's the way you're pretty much going in. So it's a little tougher. So yeah, I mean, props to you for losing 20 pounds
Yeah,
an hour before competing.
That I think that summer I wasn't even working. I was just training twice a day, 5-6 days a week,
Nice.
just to cut the weight, because it wasn't like I was super heavy, but I was maybe like 160 pounds, and I needed to cut down to light, which is 141.8, which that's 20 pounds already. And in that weight class, if I would have stayed in that weight, the girls were not only thicker, but they're a lot taller. So it probably would have gone worse if I stayed there.
So what was the weight class that you would have been at?
161?
What's
It's
the
like
name?
160. I think it's like middle
Yeah,
heavy.
I don't know, because girls have
Something
like,
like that.
different names for them. Or,
Yeah, you
I don't like
guys-
that. Just call it what it is.
Do any of you guys cut weight? Do you all cut weight like at tournaments?
I tend to cut weight way before. Like I'm all like, I was like, all right, I gotta cut weight 2 months from now, and then I start eating salads every day, and then I'll just get really crazy one day. I'm like, all right, I'll just eat everything, and I'll just eat everything, and then I'll just freak out for a moment, and then just fall into a moment of despair. But then I bring myself back up, and but I'm like, no, you did this, you can get out, and I've never missed a weight.
So you don't stay at weight. You stay at your normal level and then you cut weight for the tournament.
Normally I'm 145. Like right now I'm 146.
Right.
And
Where would you need to be?
138.
Okay.
So
Like 8 pounds.
yeah, it's easy pleasy.
Right.
I think I'm not 100% sure until I do it.
What about you, Carlos?
What about me?
Do you cut weight or do you walk around like at weight, ready to go at all times?
Lately, I've been cutting weight because I've been competing in nogi.
Okay.
So, nogi requires you to cut 5 more pounds, right, Migo?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because they weigh you without the gi, right?
Yes. So it was pretty hectic the first time that I did it, which was Austin Open. I had a hard time doing it. And this last time, I didn't make weight by 0.4. By 0.4. I could have gone to the restroom and made weight, but the guy didn't let me. So
Oh, man.
I made it to feather.
I
in
wouldn't
the
have
gi,
let
though.
you either.
Hmm?
Just to be honest, all right?
Hey.
Just to put all the cards down. I did my part. What are you doing?
I'm doing nogi. You're doing just gi.
You take that back, sir.
And
Hey.
so, Carlos, do you have any certain way that you cut weight, or you just clean up how you eat, or what
I
do you
clean
do?
up how I eat. I've been putting on the surf suit
Okay.
in the training sessions, which is pretty hot.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know.
And then how do you what's your definition of cleaning up your diet?
Well, I tend to fast, intermittent fasting,
fasting.
Okay.
right? So in the morning, I'll probably drink a coffee or a Celsius and then train. I'll eat my lunch, which is probably a salad with chicken, salmon, just an example.
And that's
Okay.
later in the day, right?
Yeah, like around 1:30 or 2. Yeah. And then a very light dinner.
Okay.
And that's really how I cut weight.
Got you. Okay. So you don't change up like what you eat specifically? You just
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I kind of when I'm not competing, or probably I'm competing in like a local tournament, which in a local tournament, like Frankie said, it's not as hard as an IBJJF to cut weight.
Right.
I do tend to eat a little different. Still taking care of myself a little bit though.
Okay. Okay. And Frankie, how do you cut weight?
So when I was a blue and purple belt, and I was like you guys, just full of energy and pretty much single and fought,
You still are.
without children. All right. On a good day, if I don't eat right before class, yeah, I can put it to you guys. But other than that, all right, I do get tired. But no, I would cut weight. I would cut down to like under 220. And I just eat cleaner. A lot of lean meats, chicken, a lot of greens. Stay away from sodas.
I say you should probably do that now.
Yeah, it's just not fun. I mean, no. I'll give you this. That is my goal, but I'm not doing it aggressively because I don't want to what they call yo-yo diet, where my weight is down for a tournament, and then after the tournament, like it's back up. You know.
Oh yeah, after the tournament for me, it's horrendous.
Well,
It's just like I feel so bad.
you going
about
up in weight.
What I do.
You going up in weight is different than me going up in weight because you might gain like, I don't know, 10 pounds or something, or 5 pounds, where I've gained like 20, 30 pounds or something like that. I mean, I'm a big guy.
Yeah, you moved the bar.
Yeah. So lately I'm just doing a gradual loss down to, like, I'm trying to get back down to 230, but it's like a 6-month span, you know. And I'm doing intermittent fasting similar to what Carlos, but it's a mild version of it. It's more calorie restriction.
Okay.
Because I don't think I'm achieving like what they call ketosis as quickly, where my body's burning like off of fat, because I'm just fasting for 16 hours and then I'm eating inside of 8-hour window.
And have you ever tried doing keto?
I don't like keto.
How come?
I've read up on it lightly. And
Oh man, I was about to call him out. Good.
Bringing it back.
Good.
no, I don't like the whole idea.
He just skimmed a couple headlines, so this is what he's basing himself off of.
I don't like. To me, keto is like Atkins 2.0 or something.
It's 100% Atkins 2.0.
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea that carbs are bad.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there's bad carbs,
Right.
but I don't think that all carbs.
What does our biology major have to say about this?
Me?
Yes.
Well, okay, you asked me, Anthony. Sorry, Frankie.
No, go ahead.
I
Have at
think
it.
I think that you're pussyfooting around your diet. Is that, in my honest opinion?
Okay.
Wait.
let her
Repeat
finish.
that. Repeat that.
You're
Pussyfooting.
You're pussyfooting around your diet.
Okay. What else?
Okay, let me just.
I thought you were going to talk about keto, not
yeah, I'm about to. Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to insult Frankie like
Jenna's
that.
just waiting for her chance to
Right.
just rip him.
pounce
I was
on
like,
you, right?
no, I'm not gonna say it. And then Anthony's like, well, Anthony, you've triggered this. Well, okay.
No, go ahead.
Well, because-
why go?
Well, because like your diet, it doesn't have to yo-yo. You know, like you're saying that you don't want it to yo-yo. You can make it into where I'm not going to, because this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna set restrictions, and
Well, I feel like that's what I'm doing now. Like, I'm not eating between these time frames.
Like,
that's hard already.
Well-
So I'll give you that. It's hard to do that, especially when it's like when the times that you set for yourself are different from everybody else around you, because other people, whenever you're trying to restrict anything, whether it's the time, the amount, what it is that you eat, it's like if other people around you are not doing the same thing, it's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you eating?
You're
Why are you
100% right.
right? And then it just shines that light on you where you're like, I don't know. It's just something that I'm trying,
My son, he experimented with intermittent, but where he would do 2-day fasts, 3-day fasts. And it was like we'd be at a family function barbecuing, and he wouldn't eat. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you suffering from some kind of depression? But no, he was just doing like a 36-hour fast or something like that.
she's like, sorry, Dad, I just care about my health. She's like, sorry, I couldn't hear you, son, over this Mac ribs.
How did that affect your son, the fasting?
He lost weight,
Right.
but from what I saw, it was too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would lose, I think he lost like 20 or 30 pounds inside of like a month or
Oh,
2
wow.
months or something like that. But he's got good discipline. I'll give him that. Like if he says he's not going to eat for 2 days or for a certain amount of time, he won't do it. But
Yeah, that's my boy.
I've done that before where I've gone a week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was this voluntary?
How did that feel?
I was actually training while doing it too. I wasn't
crazy.
I wasn't doing that to cut weight or anything. It was just kind of like a voluntary thing, kind of like a weird little experiment.
how did training feel?
Yeah.
I felt fine, but the next day I would feel so tired and just lazy
So you wouldn't need anything for a whole week.
for a
What would you drink?
Did you drink anything?
yeah, just plenty of water.
Juices?
I didn't do juices. It was just completely water.
No coffee.
Yeah, so I would have like a gallon of water with me and just drink that throughout the day. Sometimes I go to like 2 gallons a day.
That's what I want to do. Yeah, I'm in.
No, it's terrible. I would not recommend it.
How much weight did you lose within that week?
Within that week, I probably lost about 15 pounds.
How many
That's
secrets
crazy.
did you unlock?
I unlocked no secrets. It was a terrible idea and I would never do it again. I do not recommend it. It was just like a weird experiment that I wanted to try
So
out.
fasting is also one of the things that people do as like to get themselves into a psychedelic state.
Right.
And I know a lot about this because I probably have read a lot of books about psychedelics in general.
Right.
I've read 3. But that's more than the common person, right?
But back to what Janet was saying with being
Hey,
restricted.
don't you cut
I thought
me
you were
off.
done.
No.
I thought you were done. I'm
No.
sorry.
All
You
right.
should make a hand
Fasting.
sign.
No, I'm gonna lift up.
Like a gang sign or something.
So whenever I was
A bee
like
with your
in school, this happened in 4th grade, no 5th grade. So I had a teacher, Miss Hall, and like this is whenever I first started to become a chatterbox. So she would just ignore me, like a couple of times. Like I'd be like, "Hey, Miss Hall, you know, just because she knew I was about to try to crack some joke, right during the middle of class. So she would just ignore me. So what I did is that I grabbed my ruler and I drew a hand on a piece of paper and I stapled it together and did it with tape, right? And then I like Miss Hall and I lifted up my thing, you know, and then like everybody laughed and it took away a lot and she was just like, "Hey, whatever, all right, stop it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then, you know, the couple of days later passed, and then like, you know, I was talking and she was like, "Miguel," and then she like brought up this giant sign that said, "Miguel, stop talking." It's just
Checkmate.
I think we all need one of those signs. We just-
Checkmate, Miguel. That's awesome.
it was good. It's just
hilarious.
it was
Did you throw that story in just to counter me cutting you off?
oh no, I have multiple though.
There's
It was just like a random thing that happened.
Okay. I love that happened to you.
Man, I tried fasting for 24 hours, and like eating has to be my number one problem in my opinion. I just wish that I didn't have to deal with it at all.
right.
But when I fast, I feel better about myself. One, because I'm achieving a little goal, you know. So I'm like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, you get a little pat in the back, Miguel. And then there's also like like the knowing that you're doing something good. Whenever mice get fat, they get put into fasted states. They last 30% longer during the day.
Last at what? What do you mean
At
last?
sex, bro. What do you think?
Oh,
I'm joking. No.
running a maze or what?
How did you come upon figuring this out, or like, how did you get that fact?
So that
Upstairs,
fact
he
was
has like a
actually
cage
given.
of mice.
It wasn't like that. It actually, I think it was like they live 30% longer.
Oh,
But, and I said last. But I actually did look this up because I have the ability to look up things on the scholarly journals that the school allows me to look up.
Yeah, if you are enrolled at a university, you have access to like their journal database,
Right.
And you can look at peer-reviewed articles, which are the ones that you should be looking at. because that means that people within that field read them and said that they were good enough to be
Legit.
deemed.
It's
yeah,
fact
published.
checked, basically.
Sorry.
It's fact checked.
Yes, basically
Yeah.
they fact check it, which reminds me, like, how you were talking about the GMOs,
Yeah.
and I bet you came across that article of that man. I think his last name is like Losey. He did an experiment that said that that concluded that a certain type of GMO was killing the monarch butterfly. Did you ever read that article?
No, not in particular, but I heard it was hurting.
No, you just saw some headlines like GMO bad. He's like, that's all I need.
Oh, bad. Frankie. Protest.
He said, "I just grabbed his keys and his gin jacket."
You know,
Gotta do. I told the Johnny Depp poster in my room. I gotta do something.
Was he a pirate in the poster?
No, that was after 2000.
That was Johnny Depp. It was Johnny Depp in Chocolat.
chocolate.
Was that a thing? Okay.
He wasn't Chocolat. It was Crybaby Johnny Depp.
You know, I tend to try to fast for 24 hours every now and then. If I catch myself going in a path where it's like bad for me, like I'm just eating terribly or something, I'll fast for 24 hours to cut off that momentum and then rebuild off of that. Because I feel like I get into a bad like momentum where it's just a constant cycle of negative behaviors. So I have to cut that off. So with a fast, I feel like I'm able to cut that momentum short and then start picking up like better habits for myself. Although going on a 24-hour fast may not be a good habit.
It actually is a good habit. Doing
Is it really?
once a week, and then doing a 48-hour fast once every month. You're able to do both of those pretty regularly.
Oh wow. I find that it kind of resets my taste buds. Like I start craving different things. Like once when I'm in that bad state of momentum, I'll crave like terrible stuff, you know.
I think it gives you time to think about the things that you want, like really want.
Right.
Because when you're just eating without restriction,
Right.
you'll eat anything, and there's no filter. Like you'll just eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm fasting, I'm like, all right, when I eat, what am I gonna eat?
Yeah, you're gonna make it good. You're gonna plan it out to be like kind of like something that's gonna sustain you.
Exactly.
Right. Like.
But different from what y'all do, I do a mild version of intermittent.
It sounds like
I think
you do a
Miguel
mild
kind
version of everything.
I think Miguel detests it, but it's working. That's what matters.
Yeah.
All right.
Imagine if you did it right though.
What?
You said
I'm fasting 16 hours
You're doing 16/8.
and then eating in an 8-hour window. In the weekends, you know, all bets are off.
What?
Okay, so I get it. If I like eat like at a Chinese buffet for lunch and have a big breakfast and have cake, that's bad. I get that. You know,
Bad.
That's
It's
a real
bad.
life example.
that's my day today.
That was last week. That was today.
I'm kidding. No.
Are you saying that combination has never happened?
Hey, okay. Are we here to judge me? Is this an intervention?
This is an intervention, Frankie.
We want to talk.
Frankie, you need to go on a 7-day fast.
It's gonna be the name of the episode. Frankie's
Either
intervention.
I would die or I'd kill y'all. I don't know which one. First.
You'd be too weak.
You know what's
Right.
interesting about doing like a 24-hour fast? I did it twice, and I liked each time that I did it. And it's just like, okay, so like during my lunchtime, I was like, what am I supposed to do for this hour that I'm usually spending like 30 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to eat. And then the other 30 minutes, I'm actually eating and like watching TV at the same time.
Right.
I'm like, I need to try to fill this hour with something like productive because like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
So when you guys do the 24-hour fasting, especially you guys who train, what day of the week do you do that? Or what day of the week do you recommend that?
I did it on Wednesday.
Why Wednesday?
Well, because I like Wednesdays. They're like my second favorite day of the week.
What's your first?
Friday.
I think. Well, how about you, Anthony? What day do you do it?
Me personally, I do it on a Sunday. Mainly because my Sundays,
It's the Lord's Day.
Sunday is my least favorite day of the week.
Sunday, that's kind of my chill day. I don't really do anything on Sundays. I kind of clear everything out, so I have one day of basically just resting. I might go to an open mat or something on a Sunday, but after that, I'm pretty much trying to chill out at home and get myself ready for the following week.
Oh damn! This actually clears up a lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've tried to contact you a couple of times on Sundays, and you're like, "Hey, I'm busy," and I'm like, "All right, cool, man."
Yeah, my Sundays are like it's basically my me time. It's me being selfish and taking a day out of my week to just chill out and focus on me and get myself prepared for
That
the
is
rest of the
so
week.
cool. On the scale 1 to 10, it's very cool.
It's a must do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to take time
In
to
my
do that
opinion.
and slow things down because
Yeah.
bringing up momentum again, you get stuck in a momentum just in life in general with your routine and everything. So you just got to slow things down for a second, take a step back, look at everything that's going on and figure out if you need to correct anything on your path at the moment. So yeah, I do it on Sundays because I also find that it sets up the following week on a good note. Because if I've been having just a shitty week, I've been doing terrible, I haven't been training correctly, or I haven't been eating correctly, then my Sunday is the time I think about it, reflect on it. If I'm fasting that day, then it's a day for me to stop the bad momentum I've had all week and then start fresh on Monday and try to build off of that and keep it consistent.
Who else wants to fast? I'm down to fast.
down.
Let's do
Well,
it. Let's do it like.
I'm already fasting, but you guys are hating on my
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We're talking about 24-hour
Yeah,
fasting,
we're talking about real fasting.
not a
so-
6-hour
All right.
fast.
So all you guys are hating on it, but in 6 months from now, when I'm down to 230,
Dude,
we'll see who's laughing. All right, we'll see
I'll still
who's laughing.
Janet will laugh.
I mean,
She
that's
don't
fine.
care.
But I'm 230.
30.
30.
But
Okay, so we should go ahead and fast. Let's pick a day. Let's pick a day ahead of time so that we can have listeners fast as well if they want.
I agree with Anthony. Fasting on a Sunday.
I like Wednesdays.
Sunday is hard for me because usually that's the day where like my parents will like grill and barbecue and stuff. and
Okay.
I don't want to say no to that.
and that's the days that I don't fast, so I could come to your house and have barbecue.
Fuck yeah, bro.
You know,
Wait, Miguel,
'cause
why
I
do
only
you
fast 5 days a week?
Well-
hate Sundays?
Oh, I feel like Sundays are like my least productive day. Even though like on a normal Sunday I get up at 7 a.m. and then I go clean the gym and then I teach 2 privates and then I work out and then after that it's like 1 p.m. and then after that I have nothing to do for the rest of the day and then I have to like try to scramble to find something to do.
Oh no, Miguel has free time. What is he gonna do?
I just don't like it.
Yeah, you seem to be the type of person who just needs something all the time.
You're weird.
I just feel guilty. I feel guilty for not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Even if it's like a vacation, he's like, oh, I could be working right now. He's actually said that. That's
But
weird. That is weird. That's not normal.
I'm sorry.
I think it can be. That's Miguel's normal. There's certain people that they need to be stimulated all the time. They need something going on all the time, or if not, you just get way too bored.
I'm like, entertain me, world.
Yeah.
And then the world's just like, hey, how about you be with yourself for a minute? I'm like, nah, man, that's good. I'll watch some TV. How about that? But yeah, no, I do wish that, you know what, I am going to try to take more of my day. So this Sunday, let's go ahead and fast. I'm down for that.
Ooh,
All right, sure.
I'll accept the challenge.
I just want to put it out there that I won't be participating. All right.
You know, you shocked me.
All right, we should take a vote if people are listening and if they can vote, how could we do this so that
We can put an Instagram vote.
DM.
or something.
yeah, and then whether Frankie should fast with us
What?
this Sunday
No,
or not.
That's not.
Let's see what people have to say. You don't have to do it, but you might be
let
pressured
the people
to.
speak. All right.
This is a democracy.
All right. So there is a couple of things that people can do. One of the things is rate this podcast, which is something I hadn't even thought about until someone sent me like a rating, like a picture of a rating, and I was just like, oh yeah, maybe I should ask people to do that.
Nah.
I mean, after they did that, the podcast got 29 views in one day. It was crazy.
So how can listeners go and rate?
So listeners can rate in any other, preferred listening methods. So if you have iTunes, which we are on iTunes, you can just rate us on iTunes. If you have Spotify, you can also rate on Spotify. Same thing on Anchor. But one thing that you can do is you can actually make a voice message on Anchor. So we can send out a link, and then people can make 1-minute voice messages saying whatever it is that they want to say to us, as in terms of memos.
Hell yeah.
I would make a fake profile and just criticize all of you guys and be like,
All these
Miguel
people are
doesn't know what he's
terrible, but
talking
Frankie,
about.
I love
He's
Frankie.
a genius. I mean, with that mild intermittent fasting, is genius. Best of both worlds.
You get to pretend that you're fasting and also feel good about it.
And that's okay. So,
All right, guys. So
are we done with fasting?
I think we're gonna be
Okay.
fasting
So,
This Sunday?
All right,
Sunday.
So let's go ahead and close it out. This Sunday, we're going to be fasting. So is going to be Frankie.
Who is gonna be fasting? Who is
Everybody
on
that's cool. All
I'm
the
gonna,
cool kids.
I'm gonna watch y'all.
Benjamin
fast.
Franklin and all of his
Well,
homeboys are coming. We're going to send out one of those letters that they did back in the colonial days. Yeah, they were just like, hey, we're going to hang out in Philadelphia. Who's down? So a whole bunch of people were, right? And that's why we had the Constitution of the United States.
I'm gonna buy a slice of chocolate cake from the chocolate bar, Aunt Etta's. That's what it's called, and I'm gonna eat it in front of y'all.
You do you, bro.
That's all I can do.
Damn, that's so deep. Anybody has any closing comments?
No, to the listeners, just go rate the
Review.
podcast, review.
And I guess we'll finish with the most memorable tournament moments in the next episode, because only Marie really shared.
I mean, I'm down. Does anybody want to finish their most memorable moment in a tournament?
If anyone's got one.
I thought everybody should have one. If anybody, everybody has one.
Everybody has one.
Everybody
Now.
has one.
Let's take some time, think about it, and
All
we'll
right,
get
next
to
time.
we'll get
Fair
to it
enough.
next time.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
what we'll start with.
We'll start it right there. We won't even introduce anybody. It's just going to be
Right off the bat.
straight up me talking about that one time that I did that one thing. And you won't even know until you hear it. It's just like very memorable. Very memorable. That's how I usually describe that moment.
All right, perfect.
Right.
Carbs aren't bad. Go.
You shut up. All right, everybody. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Good night. Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.